Pokemon and DLC are two words that together sound great, don't get me wrong, but I am somewhat disappointed with the consequences of these two being combined. This obviously being the Pokemon Sword and Shield expansion pass coming out pretty soon. Now, in case you've been living under a rock for the past 5-6 months, you would know that in January this year, there's a Pokemon Direct which revealed the Pokemon Sword and Shield expansion pass. This being 2 packs, the first one releasing in June and the second one releasing in December, November time. And if you've watched my other video on Pokemon Sword and Shield, the National Dex one, you would know that my opinions on Pokemon as a franchise are pretty bleak. However, that being said, I still adore the franchise and I honestly love a lot of the things it offers nowadays. However, there are still a lot of flaws. But in the case that you didn't watch that video, it's been obvious that in the past years, Game Freak have been gradually cutting corners when it comes to the games. The obvious climax being Pokemon Sword and Shield actually removing half of the Pokedex. And it's fairly obvious to see why they did this. It saves development costs, and at the end of the day, it makes it easier for the TPC to sell Pokemon Home as a service. But the Pokemon Sword and Shield expansion pass, what exactly is wrong with it? Personally, I think that DLC is a good way to guarantee content. The only thing that's a caveat here is that it's Pokemon DLC. Don't get me wrong, I think Pokemon having DLC is a great idea. It's a fantastic way to modernise the concept of a third game / sister game. Instead of spending $40 on effectively the same game with some weird NPCs, you can instead spend $30 on exclusively new content. Sounds great when you put it like that. However, from my experience playing Pokemon for over 13 years, the third game is an assured way to expand on the original game's lore and world. Let's take Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, and in my opinion, these games are one of the worst in the franchise. That's not saying much because they're all fantastic games. However, these games, at the end of the day, they're lacking in so many areas. And then comes Pokemon Platinum releasing, and it redeems many of the flawed aspects in the original games, one of which being the Pokemon selection. This being an actual error in the original games. Pokemon Sword and Shield have flaws, and a lot of them at that. Graphically, the games are subpar. The wild area is vast, but at the same time, it's so boring, and there's also many frame drops and cutouts, and overall, the game's poorly optimized. Another thing is, it's argued by many that the games are far too easy. However, something that the third games do, or sister games, you can call them whatever you want to, they actually modify the main experience of the game substantially and build on it. Example being Crystal, Emerald and Platinum. But the third games typically improve on the main experience whilst also adding post-game content. Honestly, a great example here being Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. These games, on top of being great games on their own, they make the original games harder. They add in more Pokemon to the regional decks, and on top of that, they actually have a really cool post-game. With the new DLC for Sword and Shield, we will likely only get an expanded post-game, that being the Isle of Armor and the Crown Tundra, and whilst that is all pretty cool when all is said and done, the main game of Pokemon Sword and Shield remains untouched, and that rubs me the wrong way, because I believe that if you just tweaked a few things about these games, like if you actually optimized them, if you add in the 200 promised Pokemon to the original decks, and if you modified and changed the routes to have a camera even, and be more open, and if you even improved the battle tower somewhat, like add in more trainers. I mean, I don't want to be presumptuous here, but I would argue Pokemon Sword and Shield would be one of the best in the franchise. Now, before you comment saying how buying a third game is stupid, in all honesty, I'm not asking for a third game. I genuinely wanted a sequel to Sword and Shield. These games have literally ended on such a high note, and they've set up plot points that could be easily expanded upon in a sequel. But no, we got DLC. In conclusion, I'm not angry that there's DLC. I honestly think it's a great idea, but given how Sword and Shield ended, I believe a sequel would be so much better and such a better fit, but who knows, maybe we will get a sequel somewhere down the line. However, the only thing I could possibly see Game Freak doing is making a Sword and Shield deluxe version at the end of the year and calling it a day on Galar, and then proceeding to move on to greener pastures, or should I say icier pastures. Honestly, who knows? If you would like to know more about my thoughts on Pokemon, you could always watch these videos. I like making them, and they've aged surprisingly well. Well, I'll see you over there, I guess. Have a nice day, good night, or bye, day, fuck.